Any guesses from anybody who doesn't know much about Reading as to what that is? Those two pipes are large plastic pipes that are going to be part of the drainage system in Reading to try and go from the area of Blake's Lock, roughly, to the far side of the town would have meant digging enormous holes through busy roads. And some bright boy had the idea of why the water goes up there, why don't we sink the pipes in the bottom of the canal? Which was what was done. It took, I suppose, best part of a year while they were doing it. The only place they couldn't do it was at County Lock. The idea that they then was that they were going to remove County Lock, and it would have changed the water levels, but VW reckoned that would be all right. But when they went to try and remove it, they discovered that the weir at County Lock was much more solid than they'd ever imagined, and it was going to cost them far more money doing that than any other way. So when it comes up to County Lock, it goes through the land for a bit until it comes back onto the canal again. Two rubbish barges provided by the Environment Agency, or Thames Water, whichever one it was at the time, Environment Agency, taking away stuff that were the branches pulled out of the canal during one rescue. That's going down through the canal, the same area, but you see it when the bus station was there. That's John Rawls, who was one of our long-standing members, who did an awful lot for the branch in various ways. We used to have to collect waste paper. Before they had collecting waste paper through the council, we would go and collect waste paper and then sell it. Or later on, when the council started to have rather more interest in it, they provided lorries, and we would man the lorries and collect the paper that way. Anyone want a washing machine? That's under the IDR bridge, just by County Lock. Or a motorbike. That one had only been in the canal that night, and the police hadn't even the owner hadn't even reported it stolen. More rubbish gone away. And this is just before the 25th anniversary of the trust, which would be in 1980, if my arithmetic is correct. That is the chairman of Berkshire Council. It was when Berkshire was a complete county. The Mayor of Reading, a Sea Scout from First Reading Sea Scouts, and Derek Blasdell, the chairman. They're holding a message from Berkshire, a message from the town, a cheque of £3,000 odd, which had been collected in Reading, and a letter from Prince Philip to the Trust on the 25th anniversary. That's the Admiral standing on the right-hand side. The cheque has been delivered, and they're standing at Crofton, which is where the celebration was held. And the person on the extreme left is Lord Jellicoe, who was the president at that time. A little story about the Admiral. I was in the service, I was in the army, and he was in our dining room on one occasion talking to me, and he said, "Oh, did we actually meet in the Far East?" I was a major, he was an admiral, was about 15 ranks higher than me, so my chances of meeting him, particularly since I was in the army and he was in the Navy, were not very good. I said, "Well, we nearly met." He said, "What do you mean by nearly met?" I said, "Well, you had an official aeroplane who had to go from A to B on one occasion. You were sitting in the front. What you didn't know is I hitched a ride at the back."
In the same boat, Earl Jellicoe, he had a very unusual narrowboat. It was electrically powered, but it also had a sail as well.
That I hadn't heard of. Oh. Fundraising again. The 10 millionth barrel of beer from the brewery on the A4, not the old one that was in Reading. I'm sorry that I keep leaning on this. You're doing a good job, Greg. Tony Durant was paraded around the town in the brewer's dray. This is a genuine courage dray. They still had the Parkshire horses at Maidenhead area. Tony Durant is there. The same thing, but in colour. Reading was renowned for dressing up on these occasions. I don't think the other branches of the trust ever did it.
Well, they did, but not as much as we did.
This is coming up the opening of another lock. That's the trip boat owned by Norman Briggs, Lancing. Where the other one sprang from, I don't know. That's Hutch, David Hutchings, again. That is a 100-year-old sculling boat. I don't know what to... Skiff. That has been rowed the length of the canal twice by Dennis Hutchings and once now by his son-in-law. I mean, it used to be produced on all appropriate occasions. Dennis Hutchings on the right, and on the left is the B.W. Silver Rogers, who was complained that he'd had far more men 25 years earlier when he was trying to close the canal down than he was today when he was trying to reopen it. A Waterfest, I don't know which one. Another thing that we did was beer bulbs. Beer bulbs. What's the first? Biscuit, beer and bulbs, that's right. We had a token load. Now, even though they weren't still producing biscuits in Reading, they kindly gave us some large empty biscuit boxes, and the same thing we got from the bulbs is... Sorry, love? No. And they gave us some empty ones again to make it look genuine. The narrowboat on the right is Elaine, which was taking stone from Bath Stone to Windsor after the dreadful fire. And I think we borrowed them on another occasion to take a token load somewhere. And that one is where she's on her way to Windsor.